strategic sectors. B was the high-level panel 1, which discussed increasing ambition and finding innovative solutions for mobilizing sustainable finance and channeling and using finance more efficiently and effectively to implement the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and Agenda 2063, the Africa we want of the African Union, with emphasis on the second 10-year implementation plan, that is 2024 to 2033. The key messages are: A, strengthen domestic resource mobilization by digitalizing tax administration, improving public finance management systems, expanding the tax base, including through the formalization of the informal sector, and curbing financial linkages caused by illicit financial flows and unproductive tax incentives, reforming development banks by placing emphasis on lending for long-term productivity and developing local capital markets. B, encourage private sector participation by adopting de-risking measures, including reduction in the cost of capital for African economies, enhancing credit guarantee schemes to facilitate investment in long-term projects such as infrastructure development, and leveraging partnerships, pension funds, and diaspora bonds. C, improve access to funding for climate adoption and leverage green bonds and other innovative climate finance instruments to support sustainable development. D, scale up accelerators of development such as energy production and trade within Africa and globally, going beyond renewable and green energy sources and exploring other sources such as nuclear energy. E, accelerate the implementation of the agreement establishing the African Continental Free Trade Area by removing tariff and non-tariff barriers with a view to broadening the market size and increasing potential returns. F, invest in and promote technology, in particular artificial intelligence and machine learning, and apply it to such areas as production processes, value creation, marketing, public and private financial systems, education and training, and service provision in order to improve efficiency and effectiveness. G, improve the measurement of economic growth by using natural capital accounting techniques in order to boost credit ratings and to enhance the position from which the continent negotiates access to affordable finance. H, enhance institutional financial management systems by ensuring that they include just and durable sovereign debt solution mechanisms, improve legal frameworks, and use gender-based budgeting and boost financial literacy among women to facilitate equitable access to development finance. C was the high-level panel 2, which discussed scaling sustainable, inclusive, science-based, evidence-based, and data-driven solution to dramatically increase economic growth, boost job creation, and accelerate implementation of the 2030 Agenda and Agenda 2063. The key messages were: in the light of the discussion, the forum agreed on the following. A, mobilize, finance, and strengthen partnerships with a view to fostering sustainable consumption and production methods, including the transition to circular economy models of growth in crucial value chains, such as agri-food systems and the processing of critical minerals. B, rigorously review plans and programs in areas with transformational effects on the attainment of several goals, such as infrastructure, science, technology, and innovation, digitalization, food system, renewable energy system, value-added manufacturing, and climate action. C, strengthen data collection and use for the design and implementation of interventions and for the tracking of progress towards attainment of the goals, including through the following measures. Roman 1, enhancement of data integration and interoperability in all countries, governance, private sector collaboration, and data infrastructure. Roman 2, capacity building in relation to data analytics. Roman 3, emerging technologies including artificial intelligence. D, develop and implement systems for evidence-based mutual accountability to the local, national, regional, and international levels. E, combat corruption, increase transparency in all aspects of resource mobilization with a view to achieving sustainable borrowing, minimizing losses, and enhancing the efficiency of resource use. F, boost education and training systems, develop and implement co-curriculum, and strengthen integrated entrepreneurship-based capacity development programs for young people. G, adopt and implement policies to enable full engagement with persons in informal work and provide incentives for such persons to move into the formal sector in order to increase productivity, job creation, and sustainable economic growth. H, capitalize on the upcoming international conferences, including the 4th International Conference on Finance for Development, the 2nd World Summit for Social Development, and the 2025 High-Level Political Forum on Sustainable Development to advance a unified African position on priorities for the implementation of the 2 agendas. D was the high-level panel 3, which discussed follow-up on the outcome documents of the Summit of the Future in the context of advancing sustainable, inclusive, science-based, and evidence-based solutions to increase the pace and scale of the implementation of the 2030 Agenda and Agenda 2063, which was item 6 on our program. So the key messages are: A, support engagement with young people as strategic partners with investments in education systems and skills development, among other areas, to equip learners with digital literacy, entrepreneurial skills, and the capabilities necessary for decent work, while also promoting the proposed global youth platform as an important avenue for amplifying the voices of young people and increasing their participation in critical policy-related decision-making processes. B, incorporate the Pact for the Future and its annexes into domestic law, implement those laws by embedding their provisions into national development plans, and provide further support through technical assistance and capacity building to align those plans with the cooperation frameworks of the United Nations system. C, invest in green technologies, digital infrastructure, and innovation, while ensuring a human rights-based approach to development, the integration of technological advancements and sustainability into policies, and the fostering of resilient and inclusive growth. D, promote foresight and long-term planning processes that are grounded in high-quality data and evidence, and strengthen mechanisms for monitoring and evaluation and inclusive reporting with a view of tracking progress on global commitments. E, support the mainstreaming of human rights, innovation, and digital technologies into development programming. F, reinforce partnerships and scale up predictable and inclusive financing for sustainable development initiatives led by young people, including climate finance, technology transfer, and infrastructure support. G, promote the reform of the global financial architecture. H, engage further with private companies to support entrepreneurship led by young people, innovation hubs, and employment pathways, in particular in the green and digital economies and in the care sector. I, give greater recognition to the role of civil society in driving grassroots mobilization and policy accountability. By working with civil society organizations on the joint development of measures that meet local needs while contributing to broader global initiatives. This was high-level panel 4, capitalizing on the Second World Summit for Social Development to advance the achievement of African priorities, that is poverty eradication, full employment and decent work for all, inclusivity and social integration, leaving no one behind, and full achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals and the goal of Agenda 2063, which was item 7 on our program. The key messages are, in the light of the discussion, A, prioritize people-centered policies with a focus on the potential of young people and women and concerted efforts to close employment gaps. B, strengthen economic security and resilience through robust and targeted social protection mechanisms such as voluntary savings schemes and grants for older persons and persons with disabilities. C, ensure that employment is planned, adequately financed and integrated into national development strategies, and prioritize the creation of sustainable and decent employment opportunities for young people with a view of reducing poverty sustainably and fostering inclusive economic growth. D, support the transition on the continent to green jobs, in particular in such sectors as energy, agriculture, waste management, and sustainable finance, by investing in training and capacity development. E, prioritize intra-African labor mobility over dependence on labor markets outside the continent, and safeguard the rights and dignity of migrant workers through legal protection and ethical employment frameworks. F, lead efforts to mobilize domestic resources, including from local financing and tax systems rather than external aid. G, invest in the generation and use of reliable data to guide evidence-based policymaking and track progress on sustainable development. We had parallel meetings on an in-depth review of progress made, peer learning and acceleration actions regarding the sub-themes of the regional forum. That was item 8. So when it came to good health and well-being, these were the key messages. A, strengthen domestic resource mobilization to enhance the ability of African governments to finance their healthcare systems with development assistance serving only as a supplementary source. B, promote innovative, domestic and sustainable financing for resilient healthcare systems and enhance resource efficiency and effectiveness through good governance and strengthen partnership, in particular through South-to-South cooperation. C, support the training of health personnel and foster inclusivity, equity and high quality of service as vital components of universal health care coverage systems that are also resilient to climate shocks. D, promote initiatives for the local production of vaccines, medical consumables and other pharmaceuticals, including by reinforcing capacity building for national companies operating in the sector, and also by leveraging the agreement establishing the African Continental Free Trade Area. It strengthened the involvement of academic institutions and their research products in the definition and formulation of health policies and programs. F, prevent, prepare for and respond to public health emergencies through the strengthening of immunization programs, long-term investments in water, sanitation and hygiene, enhanced early warning systems for rapid detection and response to health threats, and resilient primary health care systems. E, strengthen the quality of statistics through the use of granular data, innovation, digital health solutions, and artificial intelligence, and data disaggregated by age, geography, and sex to ensure more sophisticated and data-led health interventions and targeted evidence-based health policies and programs, as has been done to reduce and eliminate the vertical transmission of HIV/AIDS. H, strengthen the quality of health care and well-being by placing greater focus on neglected issues such as nutrition, mental health, and HIV/AIDS, giving special consideration to vulnerable groups and minorities. Under gender equality, we had the key messages. A, accelerate efforts to incorporate gender perspectives into policy design, planning and budgeting, and improve resource allocation for the effective implementation of gender-responsive initiatives. B, prioritize the elimination of all discriminatory laws, the shaping of harmful gender norms and practices, and the enforcement of laws, statutes, and policies aimed at increasing gender equality. C, ensure that women and girls have access to opportunities in science, technology, and innovation through the digital learning and literacy programs with a view to helping them to gain employment in emerging sectors. D, strengthen data systems that have a focus on gender by investing in the collection of reliable gender statistics and data disaggregated by sex, standardizing indicators, leveraging technology in order to facilitate the creation of evidence-based policies and ensure accountability for advancing gender equality and women's empowerment. E, promote the equitable redistribution of unpaid care and domestic work by investing in high-quality social services, ensuring broader access to affordable child care, leveraging appropriate technology, supporting fair parental leave, and taking unpaid care worker into account in policies and national statistical accounts. F, invest in mentorship programs, safeguard civic space, and enforce gender quotas to enhance the meaningful participation and transformative leadership of women and girls in public, private, and political decision-making. G, establish mechanisms for improving accountability and reducing corruption as prerequisites to the achievements of sustainable development goals. 3 was decent work and economic growth. The key messages are: support the adoption of pro-employment, macroeconomic and strategic industrial policies, and facilitate export-led growth and economic diversification, while ensuring proper coordination and knowledge sharing among ministries, departments, and agencies to ensure integrated planning, proper monitoring, and efficiency in the implementation of such policies. B, create a strong business environment for micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, domestic private sector firms, and large enterprises, including by spurring innovation, providing infrastructure for information and communication technology, trade, transportation, telecommunications, and promoting local tourism and trade within and between African countries. C, improve labor standards and adhere to labor rights, including for migrant workers, ensure the mental health of workers, provide them with psychosocial support, and provide feedback mechanisms through which they are empowered to stand up. Boost investment in education, including by providing improved co-curricula on entrepreneurship in order to align teaching objectives with industrial demands and training and capacity building needs, while also ensuring job matching and financial support, and increase the participation of young people in the policy design. E, incorporate the needs of vulnerable populations, including persons with disabilities, women, young, and minority ethnic groups, into policy design, focusing on the adoption of accessible devices and technologies to to increase access to work opportunities and create the enabling environment for these vulnerable groups, while ensuring that non-governmental and civil society organizations play a significant role in capacity building and decision-making platforms, and that unpaid care is recognized and rewarded. F, enhance the growth of micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises by reducing taxes, enabling value addition, and ensuring maximum utility with limited capital, while also creating pathways for informal workers and businesses to transition to formal employment, and increasing value addition, employment opportunities, and wealth generation for small-scale farmers, including through establishment of cottage industries. G, strengthen political commitment to economic growth and employment, and follow through on the global and continental commitments contained in the financing initiatives of the International Labour Organizations of 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and Agenda 2063, the Africa We Want of the African Union. SDG Life Below Water, which was item 8, the key messages were: A, accelerate progress towards the achievements of Goal 14 by implementing the strategies of the African Union on maritime and ocean governance and the blue economy, and associated sub-regional and national policies, strategies, and action plans. B, utilize local indigenous knowledge, support youth-led initiatives, and invest in development that is beneficial to nature and actions that are focused on the blue economy, with a view of balancing economic growth and job creation with ecosystem regeneration. C, leverage sustainable and innovative resources such as blue bonds, debt swaps, diaspora financing, and opportunities under the African Continental Free Trade Area in order to finance initiatives that can help to protect the oceans in the region. G, enhance scientific capacity, data systems, and policy coordination with a view of unlocking greater private and domestic investment. E, scale up investments in research, vocational training, ocean science infrastructure, ocean entrepreneurship, and restoration of coastal, marine, and freshwater ecosystems, including by improving the measurements and valuation of blue natural capital, promoting scientific cooperation, and ensuring that the local communities benefit from and contribute to the ocean preservation. F, promote inclusive job creation in the blue economy with a focus on opportunities for women, young people, persons with disability, indigenous people, and coastal communities. G, foster the development of training and vocational programs for which the curricula include issues related to the blue economy and improve access to education in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. H, ensure that the voice of Africa is heard in efforts to shape global ocean governance, including by ratifying and implementing major relevant treaties such as the agreement under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea on the conservation and sustainable use of marine biological diversity of areas beyond national jurisdiction, and agreement on fisheries subsidies, and by contributing to the finalization of the proposed United Nations Treaty on Global Plastics. Partnerships of the goals of the 2030 Agenda and Agenda 2063. The key messages are: strengthen public-private, inclusive, and multi-level partnerships with non-government organizations, communities, and the diaspora, and foster coordination that is aligned with national priorities in order to leverage resources, technical expertise, and implementation capacity. B, scale up domestic resource mobilization and explore innovative financing options such as green bonds, diaspora bonds, and blended finance, while advocating fair debt resolution mechanisms, and global financial reform that is grounded in human rights. C, invest in data systems by supporting national statistical offices and adopt artificial intelligence and big data solutions to enable the use of real-time disaggregated data for inclusive and evidence-based policy making. D, leverage the creative sector for employment opportunities and engagement with the Sustainable Development Goals and ensure that all financing strategies address gender equality and inclusion. E, embed human rights principles in economic policy and international financial reforms while fostering South-to-South cooperation that is transparent, equitable, and focused on shared challenges and solutions. Then G, this is where we had plenary roundtable panel on enhancing science, technology, innovation, and digital transformation to underpin sustainable, inclusive, science-based, and evidence-based solutions for economic growth, job creation, and accelerated implementation of the 2030 Agenda and Agenda 2063. The key messages are: tailor global strategies to local needs, ensuring that such strategies are secure, safe, inclusive, and aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals and the Global Digital Compact to effectively bridge the digital divide while also investing in digital public infrastructure and affordable rural internet access with a view to empowering communities and driving equitable transformation. B, strive to be leaders in progress driven by artificial intelligence, improving access to high-quality health care with a view of accelerating implementation of the 2030 Agenda and Agenda 2063 through responsible governance of artificial intelligence, backed by investments in infrastructure, skills development, and ethical policies, all of which require updated, validated data and cross-border and cross-sector collaboration. C, strengthen public-private partnership by offering such incentives as tax concessions and financial support to attract private investments in science, technology, and innovation, prerequisites for which includes the establishment of the partnership with telecommunication companies, which can help to reduce connectivity costs, improve digital access, and foster a supportive network. D, develop robust frameworks for science, technology, and innovation that are aligned with industrial growth objectives and actively engage in science diplomacy to forge strategic partnerships. E, allocate up to 5 to 10% of their maritime or fisheries budgets to upgrading and maintaining science and technology innovation infrastructure, including by establishing regional consortiums to jointly purchase high-resolution satellite services. F, develop science, technology, engineering, and mathematics co-curricula, offering scholarships and establishing mentorship programs for young people while implementing supportive policies and establishing innovation hubs for the commercialization of research. G, increase women's participation, leadership, and visibility science, technology, and innovation with a view of fostering incentiveness and achieving equitable development. Plenary roundtable panel on voluntary national and local reviews as a means of fostering sustainable, inclusive, science-based, evidence-based, and data-driven solutions to dramatically increase economic growth, job creation, and the pace and scale of implementation of the 2030 Agenda and Agenda 2063. The key messages are: A, members of the ICA should, Roman 1, align their commitments under 2030 Agenda with their commitments under Agenda 2063 as it is the clearest way to ensure the implementation of development policies. Roman 2, put national and voluntary reviews to use as powerful tools that could help to place women at the center of the sustainable development process. B, members of ICA and development partners should ensure that national and local reviews are more grounded in reality and linked with roadmaps for implementation in order to ensure that the goals can be achieved. C, national and regional policymakers should liaise with local grassroots stakeholders in order to ensure that positive examples of meaningful change achieved at the local level are scaled up and out. Members, those are the key messages under the different subheadings or sub-themes or SDGs, the 5 SDGs that we considered. I know it's long, but we'll have to go, I think, page by page. Can we? Page by page. Can I be guided? We go page by page? Okay. Can we begin from page 3 of 15? Technical team, can you put for us page 3 on the screen, page 3? The key messages under the presidential dialogue, that's what we are looking at, page 3. Does a member have something to add, subtract, improve, question? Because members, at the end of the day, we all have to own it and carry it home and implement it. Page 4. We look at page 4. The upper part for the presidential dialogue, page 4. Now let's look at still page 4. That is high-level panel 1. The one to do with increasing ambition and finding innovative solutions for mobilizing sustainable financing. The key messages on page 4. Page 4, members. Page 4, members. Can we look at page 5? Let's look at C. The high-level panel 2, scaling sustainable, inclusive, science-based, evidence-based, and data-driven solutions. That is page 5. The key messages. Are we there? Page 5. Still under the same page 6. Up there. Next page, technical person. So still under page 6, we look at D. That is the high-level panel 3, which the key messages under follow up on the outcome documents of the summit of the future in the context of advancing sustainable, inclusive, science-based, and evidence-based solutions to increase the pace and scale of the implementation of the 2 agendas. Page 6, the key messages. Page 6, the key messages. Page 7, the key messages under the same subheading. Page 7E, that is high-level panel 4, capitalizing on the 2nd World Summit for Social Development to advance the achievement of the African priorities. That is page 7, the key messages. Look at 28 below. Then we move to the next page, page 8. Page 8. So F, page 8, yes. Yes. Move where there is a microphone. Can I also have technical secretariat, people with the microphones? Please, go ahead.
Thank you. I just want to highlight under page 8, speaking about
which page?
The parallel session under good health and well-being. That's on 7 and 8.
Page 7. We go back to 7.
It starts at 7, but it goes all the way to 8.
Yes, it starts from page 7.
Yes. And one of the targets for SDG 3 is to ensure access to sexual and reproductive rights for all, including women. And in none of the messages, we don't see anything that has to do with, one, maternal mortality, which we know affects all African countries. We also don't see anything about teenage pregnancies.
Yeah, wait. The first one is to do with the maternal mortality.
Yes.
Then the second one
is to do with teenage pregnancies, because we know that over 24 countries in Africa have more than 25% rate of teenage pregnancies, and we don't see this addressed at all, especially since we're talking about youth, and we know that pregnancy and childbirth complications are the leading causes of death among girls aged 15 to 19. I think it's really critical for us to include a key message about that.
Thank you. Secretariat, have you please capture that? They've captured it. Let me first get those ladies who are there. Okay, ladies, please, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very
much. But
much.
move near the microphone so that you are audible enough.
Okay, thank you very much. Just to add on to my colleague who mentioned those critical issues that we did not see and highlighted, one of the other things that we have not seen highlighted is the issue of access to universal health coverage, which is important under this SDG. But also when you talk about domestic resources on health, we know that African member states agreed and committed to Abuja Declaration. So we need to be able to also have that, so that then that also calls for the government to ensure that there is 15% of their budget on health. So those two key issues need to be included when you talk about domestic resources. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we have, yes, next.
Thank you very much. Under the same SDG 3, health and well-being, considering the almost 75% of the emerging pandemics, in human beings, they are.
Are you on the same page, page 8? Yes.
Yes, madam. Shall I continue?
Please go ahead. The Secretariat is listening as I work on my gadget.
Okay, thank you. Considering that two-thirds of these new emerging diseases originate from animals and also transmit to human beings, we have recommended the better investment for animal health to better protect humans from new emerging infections, antimicrobial resistance, and the like. So we've recommended better investment in animal health as one of the recommendations to be included in this as key message, but we haven't seen any of this being captured under this.
Thank you, Secretariat. He says we didn't capture the issues to do with the diseases from animals to human beings, if I may use the simple language. Next, comment on that, please. If no comments, then can we move to... Oh, yes, please.
Oui, je voudrais ici, professeur Mbokolo, voudrais intervenir à la page... il faut seulement élaguer un vocable qui ne me paraît pas convenable de façon universelle, puisque c'est que l'on entend par libre-échange. Le libre-échange, c'est un système qui préconise la suppression des droits de douane et toute entrave au commerce international et donc
every other barrier to international trade. As such, the AFCFTA ought to align with intra-African trade. Hence, with regards to point number 10I3, implement the AFCFTA. Dear moderator, you agree with me that given that science is universal, we mustn't mention confidentiality. We need to erase the term confidentiality or confidential. So we must say a free trade area can in no way be confidential. And I state that, and I thank you very much.
Secretariat, he wants us to be so clear when we talk of free trade. What does it mean? No barriers at all. Next. Anything more about that? Members, next. E. Technical people, can you put on E? Yes, Honorable.
Okay. So just like my colleague had said earlier, still speaking on SDG 3, raising issues around sexual reproductive health and rights. One of the things that we want to see is investments in menstrual health care, especially being integrated in maternal health services and into the broader health systems, ensuring availability and affordability of a variety of menstrual products to meet diverse needs and preferences for different adolescent women and girls. Thank you.
Secretariat, that is for the D. Can we have moving to E or the same? Can you get her a better microphone?
Thank you very much. Under promoting trade, the African Continental Free Trade Area, the issue of connectivity, of connecting the African nations together, we will not promote trade until we have proper connectivity. I haven't seen it highlighted both by air, the logistics to move business, to move commodities from one country to another. Thank you.
Thank you. Secretariat, you've captured that, and I think it is all through, because for us to achieve, there must be connectivity. Can we move to 8? The key messages for under E, 8, up there. 8, please.
Hello. Thank you, Madam Chair. So I would like us to add some language on moving beyond GDP. We know that GDP doesn't measure people's well-being. It doesn't capture the full extent of the value created by the informal economy. It doesn't account for inequalities, and it fails to capture the human and environmental destruction caused by economic activities. So we propose some language on the need to move beyond GDP and develop new measurement a new measurement framework and new metrics that would integrate disaggregated data and other indicators that capture the complex vulnerabilities faced by African countries. Thank you.
Secretary, she's bringing that because whenever these technical people talk of GDP does not really capture everybody. It's like it's for a few. So her proposal is that everybody should be included. Please, thank you. Next.
Right, so I think G, around disaggregated data, I think it would be good to include disability disaggregation, because I think if we exclude it, we are basically not counting the 16% of persons with disability on the continent. And I think it would be great to have it running through, because disability is really cross-cutting. So making sure that we are not leaving the 16% behind. Thank you.
Secretariat, in a G, we mentioned the age geography 6. We should also, she's saying we should also include PWDs. Please. Yes.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to see gender-based violence included, because research has shown that gender-based violence is a pervasive issue that affects women in politics, affects women in economy, and all facets of their lives. Right now, we're seeing emerging trends like technology-facilitated gender-based violence, which has made the online space very unsafe for women and girls. To achieve gender equality, we should accelerate this as a key message. Thank you.
Thank you. Secretariat. Can we move to the next page? Page 10. We are now under decent work and economic growth. The key messages, decent work and economic growth. Key messages. Yes. Yes.
Thank you. I think one of the key things that we feel has been missed out is the issue of the need to have a bare minimum for which any young person in employment should receive. So one of the key discussions that was coming around was the issue of the need for African states really to think about the minimum wage. And we think it would be very important to include it under this section.
So, Secretariat, minimum wage, I think which minimum wage should also consider all the factors like inflation and whatnot. Please give it to him. Thank you.
For me, I've not seen the role of African medicine, the thing that we have known for so many centuries. I've not seen how we can promote the innovation and advancement of medicine from our hubs. And the other thing is the migrant issue.
Wait. The issue you are raising is the African medicine. That one comes under, that's not under decent work. That's health and well-being. Yes. Yeah. Secretariat, you will take it there. Yes. No, you are raising something, another issue.
Okay, fine. Something else I was seeing is about the issue to do with the migrant crossing the Mediterranean Sea.
The migrant workers.
In Western Europe, how they are being mishandled instead of being facilitated. So that is a serious problem across the borders, and we need to address that.
That was included. We have it in there. Can I have the microphone to him? Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister, we would like to hear about road safety, which is a major issue in Africa. Like we are losing 19.5 deaths per 100,000 people in Africa, but it is not highlighted anywhere.
So that one of road safety, I think it will come under good health and well-being.
Sure.
Yes, okay.
Thank you.
Secretariat, you take note, you take it well. Can we continue to page 11? life below water. Page 11, life below water. Life below water. Yes, please.
Good afternoon, Chair. Just to bring to your attention, apologies, I'll take you back to page 2, number 9, to bring to your attention that the name there, Mr. Villacati, should be His Excellency Moses Villacati, Commissioner for Agriculture, Rural Development, Blue Economy and Sustainable Environment, Abe. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we now go for life below water? Page 11. Yes, page 11.
So still just an addition on the employment section. In the wake of labor migration and the fact that it heavily affects women and the youth, there should be one at least clause or inclusion of the on the Convention on Decent Work Agenda, specifically ILO 190.
Decent work and gender. Secretariat.
Yes, and we should make mention of ILO 190.
Okay. Page 11, life below water. Page 11, life below water. Next, page 12, partnerships for the goals of the 2 goals. Partnerships. Yes, can a microphone? Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just previously on life below water 14, SDG 14F, I just wanted to say we need to include the word inclusive science, technology, and under F. It will start there with the word inclusive. The technologies that sometimes we have are not inclusive of persons with disabilities. So it should be inclusive and accessible. Thank you.
So he wants you to include the word accessible, because the inclusiveness is included, but accessible. Okay, next. Life below water. Page 16. No, partnerships for the goals. Page 12. Page 12. Partnerships for the goals. Members, partnerships for the goals. Yes, I see the arm behind the cameraman. Please go ahead.
I thank you, Madam Moderator. My issue with that is for us to consider under the partnership the issue of fishery development assistance and how it can be incorporated as a way of also demanding for their change in behavior and strengthening true partnerships in fostering finances for sustainable development. So the addition of fishery development assistance as part of that partnership arrangement that is required for resourcing. Thank you.
Thank you, but the change of behavior is embedded in there when we talked of humility and retrospective, not retrospective, to respect each other. We, the borrowers and the lenders, it was included, but you can enhance it, improve on it. Next, partnerships. Partnership, yes, please. Can we get a microphone?
Thank you, Chair. I heard the President of Uganda saying the partnerships, trying to clarify partnerships about brotherhood. There's a way he explained it. He says Africa is about partnerships based on integration and brotherhood. So in a way, it's not like the way we take it in this foreign aid and whatever. I felt like it is something to really take in consideration, bearing in mind that his reality was that Africans must claim the development themselves. Partnerships based on brotherhood. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, next.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. My reflection and contribution is in line with strengthening the civic space, because I see in most states in Africa, the space available for civic action and partnership, especially from civil society organizations, is quite weak, and there is need to strengthen this. So I would like to suggest that it is also put in these considerations that the field and the environment civil society organizations operate should be leveled and made conducive to be able to contribute their goals meaningfully. Thank you.
Thank you. Can somebody at the back, can you give him the microphone? Yes.
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Chair. I'm sorry to take you a little bit behind. On the item 8C on decent jobs, I think it is very important for us to add something around investing in the digital economy, bearing in mind that statistics indicate, according to ECA, that by 2030, the digital economy in Africa will employ 230 million Africans, and it will be the biggest employer by sector, even more than agriculture. Then on the life below water, it is also important for us to add an item around pollution and chemical waste, because we know statistics have indicated, we know Africa, we have the second longest coral reef in the world, but then it is under threat also, not just from climate change, but also increasing acidification of the ocean based on the pollution that is ongoing and our disposal of chemical waste. So I believe once we add those, this document will be good. Thank you very much.
It was already good. We are just improving it. Let's learn to appreciate those who put in efforts to put these things. It is not easy to listen to so many people and come get the point. Can I have somebody at the back with the microphone?
Yeah, thank you so much. I will have a feeling on about decent work and economic growth. There is need to establish a venture capital fund to scale up innovations owned by young people, especially girls and women. As we have evidenced, most of the initiatives that are owned by young people don't celebrate their 1 year of existence, creating and failing the so-defined sustainable development that we need. Thank you.
Thank you, but that was already included. It may not have come basically below that, but it is within the document. Can I have somebody? Yes. Lady, please, go ahead.
Okay. So just to strengthen the language on the issue of gender-based violence, I would like to include that with regards to emerging forms of violence, femicide.
Excuse me, members, simplify work for the Secretariat. If you're improving, if you're adding something, mention, because you have it, so that we go straight to that page to simplify the work. So you are now talking about gender violence. Where are we now?
SDG 5, gender equality.
Okay. Go ahead.
I mentioned that we should include femicides as part of the emerging forms of violence. Additionally, we should also include violence against women in politics, because one of the things that we have seen recently is constant attack for women in politics. So I think that should also be included as part of emerging forms of violence against women. Thank you.
Thank you. So can we move to page 12, partnerships? Partnerships, page 13. That is plenary roundtable panel on enhancing science, technology, innovation, and digital transformation to underpin sustainable. That is page 13. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For the partnership, as we concluded yesterday, we said that at the community level, that's where we have things are going on, and women, rural women, and women with disabilities are usually left behind. So we have suggested that the partnership should also take into account communities, and we should promote bottom-up partnership with the building of trust between communities, including women and the private. I would like to have it in here because if not, we are still like just flanning up and with no hand out on the ground. Please, thank you.
So then that comes under A, where we are talking about strengthening public, private, inclusive, and multi-level partnerships with non-government organizations, communities. So you are of the view we mentioned those communities. We shall do that. Please, next.
Thank you. Under partnership, I would recommend we include the leveraging of the potential for EPC plus financing in financing the infrastructure development. That is in partnership. And in life below water, to include marine spatial planning to avoid conflict of ocean users. Thank you.
Please get the two under the different. There was another hand the other side. Is it still up or not yet? Yes. Can you give her the microphone, please?
Thank you so much, ma'am. On partnerships, I'm just giving an additional recommendation to have traditional or cultural institutions included on that.
Okay, thank you. Can I have an arm this side, please? Go ahead.
Thank you so much. Just to substantiate on marine, I would also think that it's very important to establish more marine protected areas so that we're able to conserve biodiversity, that is life below water. Thank you.
Thank you. We are now on page 13. Page 13, G. Page 13. That is plenary roundtable panel on enhancing science, technology and innovation and digital transformation to underpin sustainable, inclusive, science-based and evidence-based solutions for economic growth, job creation and accelerated implementation of 2030 Agenda 2063 Agenda. Key messages. Comment? Yes. My Vice Chair.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Please, let me first have the Vice Chair here. Please, go ahead.
Madam Chair, I just want to observe that this morning when the Honorable Minister from Uganda was asked about her recommendations for the future, she made an important recommendation, the need to establish think tanks at the national level on science, technology, and innovation. And I don't see it reflected here, so I want to suggest that we include it. Thank you.
Thank you. The issue of think tanks at national level. There was somebody who had taken the microphone. Can I hear? Please go ahead.
Thank you. Je suis le professeur Mwange Kobila, président de la Commission des droits de l'homme du Cameroun. Il me semble que de manière générale, le rendu des tables rondes de ce matin a été un peu trop rapide dans le document qui est soumis à l'approbation. Mais je voudrais surtout insister sur 3 points. D'abord, concernant le point
G, paragraph 44, we speak about the use of science, technology and innovation to promote economic growth. This is general, too general, in my opinion, and cannot have the requisite impact. I get the impression that it would be more fruitful to take all the administration and all the key actors in development in Cameroon to way they use research results to improve performance and to accelerate the country's development. I think it would be more, this would be more concrete to request or require the key actors to be accountable for the way in which they use research results. This would be make it compulsory for them to use the research findings. We spoke about the diaspora this morning, but running through this report, I don't see much that has been brought out regarding the diaspora. That's why I would like to invite us to take into account the current approaches to involve African diaspora in the continent's development. This is unrealistic the way we do it now, because it tends to ask them to come back to the country when our countries do not have enough incentives to get them to come over. I would like to recommend two approaches to better use the diaspora. Firstly, that we use the members of diaspora by leaving them where they are. Don't try to bring them back. And in Cameroon, we've actually recruited an expert, a Cameroonian designer, who stays in Sweden and who is employed by the Commission. And this kind of innovative approach can actually be helpful. We have to take into account the needs of the diaspora. They would like to come to the country for their holidays, but I think it's important to be realistic, to involve the diaspora in this way. I'd like to end with an issue on education. We spoke about education in the area of science, technology, and mathematics engineering. This is stated in a very general way. The main problem as a professor, the problem in our universities is that they are under-equipped. The laboratories are not sufficient. Libraries are virtually empty. Far from being updated.
Je crois que ce sont des points sur lesquels nous devons mettre le doigt pour avancer en
be clear to advance the SDGs in Africa. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The issue of accountability with the Science Research Secretariat, then also the issue of diaspora. They can come back or they cannot come back. So we take use of the technology so that wherever they are, they still recoup whatever they can to send home, but at the same time working with us. And also leave out general terms and be specific. I see another arm still the other side, behind the person who has been talking. Please. Yes, continue. Yes.
Oui, merci beaucoup, Madame la modératrice.
Professor Bokolo from the University of Kinshasa. I would like to add and support the person who spoke before me, the one who said something very important. I think this is true everywhere. We have
la recherche et qui affiche en faisant l'évaluation certains points forts et certains points faibles. Et je l'appuie et je lui donne raison, puisque le secteur de la recherche que vous appelez sciences, technologie, innovation, reste confronté à des difficultés parmi lesquelles il y a l'insuffisance des ressources humaines, le faible financement de la recherche, la mauvaise gouvernance du secteur de la recherche.
For the sector of research, those managing research do not have adequate coordination of research programs in research institutions. And furthermore, research in Africa, I had asked the question, is it autonomous, hybrid, or is it extraverted or cross-cutting? Now, these inadequacies put a brake on research in Africa. It is up to us, and I'm sure you'll be in agreement with me, that my colleague is absolutely right when it comes to the diaspora issue, and here I can support him. In Lingala, we have a proverb which is something like that, which means that the white man, even if he's in Africa, he will not forget where he came from. And these people can come to our support, but we can't pull them out of their countries of origin, even if they can contribute to sustainable development, which is a necessary condition for a prosperous Africa in the future. I thank you very much, and I fully support what my colleague said before me regarding the diaspora, because everywhere else in the world, the diaspora contributes in the national development and to our different states. I have finished. Thank you.
Thank you. He was talking of supporting what the colleague had said, but he also brought out the issue of coordination of the different research institutions or communities, and then use of that research. I think now for informing policy, forming policy. Thank you. So he brought in a new point. Can I have somebody in white? Microphone, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and through you. After thoroughly reviewing key messages from D, allow me to take you back a little bit.
Yes, youth, proceed.
D. Okay. So, the first key message is really well crafted. It talks about supporting engagement with young people as strategic partners, with investments in education systems and skills development, among other areas. So are youth part of the young people? And then also, among other areas, are we talking about leadership and mentorship of the youth? I think that should be really clear. Then in the same message, we go on to talk about a proposed global youth platform. And I think that is really a very good idea. But again, I would think it's really too ambitious. And why I say this is, we recognize that each countries have youth platforms that are implementing SDGs and also Agenda 2063. But my fellow youth will agree with me that we lack a unified regional platform here in Africa that brings us together as youth implementing Agenda 2030 and youth implementing Agenda 2063. So why don't we start from there, and then we can go on and have a global youth network as well. So if that could be included in the message, then we know where we could start from. We organize at regional level, Africa, and then we go on and have a global platform as proposed. Thank you.
So she says we have the national platform for the youth. We need the regional one, and then then the international or global one, so that they are all at different levels. Secretariat. Members, next, can we go to page 14? Page 14, the key messages about the voluntary national and local reviews. The local reviews. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Madame Chair. I will speak in French. Je suis Rose Pélagie Masso du réseau des femmes africaines pour la gestion communautaire des forêts, le REFACOF. Excusez-moi de revenir au
forests and other natural resources. I'm going to come back to the issue of partnership. Funding is a significant challenge to us all. I would like that we introduce an element on access to funds for improving resilience to climate change. I thank you.
Thank you. Yes, please. Can you first give him, then it comes this way, since you are just near them there. Then after that, you come this side.
Thank you, Madam Honorable Chair. I am speaking on the voice of persons with disabilities. I appreciate the recommendations, but Chair, if you allow, I want to take you back to key message 28.B. 28.B, where we are talking about social, 28.B.
That is page 7.
Oh, yes, where we are talking about strengthening and giving and persons with disabilities. It is good, but it is not better, because to achieve SDG 10, we need to remove these imbalances in equality. And yesterday we discussed about the global summit, which ended in Berlin. We agreed that 15% should be saved to remove these imbalances in all the grants and the special or social services that we support. And this will go a long way of achieving goal 10, Madam Chair, if we can recommend that this 15% be put as an implementation intervention. Thank you, Madam Chair. I present.
Okay, thank you. So can we have the microphone this side? So they are talking of the 15%, like we've put it here for the maritime.
Thank you, Chair. Once again, you will bear with us, really. We're trying to work out some things here. I think these discussants, we didn't have chances, of course, to speak. But when they were talking, we were really listening. I think it's Prime Minister Haile Mariam who said that, and they were simple. He said that these partnerships need to work for Africans, not Africans working for them, like IMF. If we capture such things, they would really solve a lot without going into technical definitions, this and that. He also referred to these things of blending, finance, and he said just things working for us. I think let's go with simple languages, and then we can adopt such things. Then it will save us a lot.
I would suggest, why don't you go to a specific one so that we change the language of that particular one? Because when you observe...
On partnerships, for example, you talked about to do with the European Union. I see them here, and they were discussing here as key points. And they said the IMF, like the World Bank, should work for Africans, not Africans working for it. These people were talking, really. So probably we need to follow them and we adopt. We can't just say partnerships as if we are going to go the same way with these financing problems, and it's too much. I mean, I'm sure you know. So we could use friendly languages, but intending what we, at least we know what we are going for. So,
yeah, but remember, members, we have talked of diplomacy in this very paper, and they've scaled down on the issue of diplomacy and went beyond diplomacy as a word and brought diplomacy into literally everything. So if we are to go by that, does that help us much, or we first solve our problems by agreeing we should stop exporting raw materials and process? Yes. So in a way we are responding to what our leaders said by saying let's process instead of donating the jobs and the money. Let's first do it ourselves, exporting the unprocessed agricultural products, exporting unprocessed or value-added minerals. So by doing that, we are responding to what our leaders asked. Yes, we may want, but we also have to know we are into a world where they need us, but we also need them.
Sure. We are not.
So we should then have a language that is comfortable with what they are comfortable with and also comfortable with us. And some of them we can do by changing our actions and approaches to issues. So we cannot say that the IMF should work for Africa and not know. Because IMF, we are not the only stakeholders in the world.
That's true.
There are other stakeholders.
That's very true, right, Honorable. And I agree with you. All I'm saying is, because this is what was presented, if you remember His Excellency Prime Minister Haile Mariam, he defined it. Probably we could go back and listen to his message. But that's what I'm trying to contribute, so that we don't go into technicalities.
Can we look at E, 5E? Embed human rights principles in economic policy. That is page 12. Embed human rights principles in economic policy and international financial reforms. So what we are talking about can come under whatever we have to look at in details as the international financial reforms. Members, page 14, I want to take this opportunity to thank you that I now take it to put it to you that do we adopt these key messages and own them as a team? We take the we are supposed to build consensus. We are not supposed to take a vote. Can I hear the clapping louder? Because that's the sign of building consensus. Thank you. Thank you so much. I want to take this opportunity to invite the Vice Chairperson, Honorable Fabrice David, to come and present to us the draft of the Kampala Declaration. Thank you so much.
Excellencies and distinguished delegates, I will now have the honor, on behalf of the Bureau of our Regional Forum, to read the Kampala Declaration on Sustainable, Inclusive, Science-Based and Evidence-Based Solutions for Driving Job Creation and Economic Growth and for Implementing the 2030 Agenda and Agenda 2063. You will be able to read from the screen or from your hard copy on your desk. We, African ministers and senior officials responsible for the environment and sustainable development, finance, planning, economic and social development, health, agriculture, water and marine resources, land management, education, statistics, the digital economy, science and technology, together with heads and members of delegations of parliaments and experts representing governments and intergovernmental organizations, entities of the United Nations, the private sector, the academic community, civil society and faith communities and institutions. And as from that point, I will go directly to the doing section on page 4, as agreed earlier with other members of the Bureau. Page 4. Firstly, do hereby urge members of the Economic Commission for Africa to intensify efforts with the support of the Economic Commission for Africa, the African Union Commission, the African Union Development Agency, New Partnership for Africa's Development, the regional economic communities, the African Development Bank, and other regional banks, United Nations country teams, other United Nations entities. Little a, to mobilize and render sustained political and technical leadership in implementing the 2030 Agenda and the second 10-year implementation plan of Agenda 2063 at the national and continental levels. B, to foster self-reliance in sustainable finance and to develop and strengthen appropriate financing systems that are developed, led and owned at the national, sub-regional and continental levels, including innovative and sustainable public debt management strategies that are directed at job creation, economic growth and sustainability with the aim of attaining the goals of the two agendas. C, to adopt a coordinated and integrated approach to mobilizing and using sustainable finance for coherent and accelerated implementation of the 2030 Agenda and the second 10-year implementation plan of Agenda 2063. D, to undertake an urgent further review of national and local institutions, plans, programs and financial systems in view of a slow pace of job creation, economic growth and implementation of the two agendas and the need to meet the expectations of existing and emerging continental and global frameworks such as the second 10-year implementation plan of Agenda 2063, the Pact for the Future, the Global Digital Compact, the Declaration of Future Generations, the Paris Agreement on Climate Change, and other treaties on such planetary crises as biodiversity loss, land degradation and pollution, and to strengthen those institutions, plans, programs, and financial systems to enable them to step up the pace and widen the scope of implementation. E, to mobilize and channel financial support for national, regional and continental conflict prevention and peace-building strategies and humanitarian programs. F, to develop mechanisms to incentivize private sector investment that are aligned with the goals of the two agendas, including by, firstly, providing policy stability, raising awareness of investment by the private sector and de-risking such investment, and secondly, facilitating with a strong involvement and support of the United Nations Global Compact, the rollout to scale in Africa of the Forward Faster initiative and accelerating private sector action towards achieving the Sustainable Development Goals and the corresponding goals of Agenda 2063. Second part of the doing section. We do hereby call upon the participants at the 4th International Conference on Financing for Development, the 2nd World Summit on Social Development, the High-Level Political Forum on Sustainable Development, and other global, regional and sub-regional forums to consider and undertake as part of their respective outcomes the following commitments aligned with the priorities of Africa. Little a, in respect of poverty eradication, to develop and promote holistic and innovative approaches to an investment in poverty reduction and social protection that take into account income, gender and geographical disparities. Social inequality and exclusion with a view to empowering vulnerable groups, reducing vulnerability to poverty, and strengthening resilience to future shocks. B, in relation to inclusivity, social integration, and leaving no one behind, first, to ensure the inclusive and responsible use of such technologies as artificial intelligence to promote job creation, poverty reduction, food security, climate resilience, justice for all, and birth and identity registration, and to improve the delivery of inclusive quality education and healthcare services. Secondly, to increase investment that benefits all children and young people, including those with disabilities, and to empower them with affordable, accessible, inclusive, and gender-responsive, equitable, and good quality health, nutrition, and education programs and services. Thirdly, to strengthen mechanisms for intergenerational interaction, including the exchange of views on sustainability and the planning and promotion of social and intergenerational equity and just sustainability transitions. C, in relation to good health and well-being. Firstly, to increase government financing for the health sector and to allocate at least 15% of national budgets to health, including by employing innovative financing mechanisms that can mobilize additional resources for health intervention and improve efficiency in the use of funds allocated to health. Secondly, to strengthen health systems and make them fit for purpose and resilient to current and future shocks. Thirdly, to adopt a rights-based approach to the fight against HIV/AIDS so that all people, and in particular the most vulnerable, have access to the services that they need. Fourthly, to adopt integrated and multi-sectoral approaches and investments with a view to fostering good health and well-being, including by addressing disparities in access to healthcare. Little d, in relation to gender equality and the empowerment of women. Firstly, to implement gender-responsive policy design, planning and budgeting and financing systems with a view to allocating more resources to gender-responsive initiatives and to promoting sustainable, inclusive, science-based and evidence-based approaches to driving job creation and fostering economic well-being for women and adolescent girls, including those with disabilities. Secondly, to prioritize the enforcement of gender equality statutes and the elimination of discriminatory laws and practices that hinder access by women and girls to gainful employment. Thirdly, to promote access to science technology for women, young people and children, expand digital learning, literacy and capacity building opportunities, address the risks and challenges emerging from the use of technologies, and equip women and girls with skills for green jobs and the productive assets needed to support climate-resilient livelihoods and to drive sustainable economic growth. Fourthly, ensure women's economic empowerment by promoting access for women and girls to credit, capacity building in the area of entrepreneurship, financial inclusion and financial literacy, and by advancing respect for and the protection and fulfillment of women's right to employment and rights in the workplace. Little e, in relation to job creation, full employment, decent work for all and inclusive economic growth. Firstly, to boost youth employment by adopting an integrated approach that combines training, job matching, financial support and the participation of young people in program design and implementation. Secondly, to institutionalize the participation of young people in governance and their active engagement in shaping policies and strategies that bridge educational and job market needs. Thirdly, to promote and enable participation of young people in implementation of the agreement establishing the African Continental Free Trade Area, while also strengthening the skills of young people in digital technology, artificial intelligence and entrepreneurship. Fourthly, to promote access by young women to education, including vocational training, to strengthen workplace equality, and to provide childcare services with a view to surmounting barriers to the participation of women in the labour market. Fifthly, to eradicate child labour, including through the adoption of policies that promote rural livelihoods, education, social protection, and respect for labour laws. Sixthly, to support African countries in their efforts to harness and add value to critical minerals, oil and gas, and other natural resources, including through the establishment of nature-positive and climate-resilient special economic zones and green regional value chains, with a view to boosting decent employment and promoting economic growth, energy transitions, climate resilience, and environmental sustainability. Investments towards transformational areas of endeavour, including the development of inclusive, climate-resilient physical and digital infrastructure, the widening of access to energy, the expansion of value-added manufacturing, support for technology, innovation and the digital transition, the growth of trade, the promotion of food security, the provision of high-quality education for all, of social protection and of universal health coverage, and the mitigation of climate change. F. In relation to life below water and transitions to inclusive and just blue and green economies. Firstly, to scale up collaborative regional and international efforts and initiatives such as that of the Great Blue Wall and those relating to equitable governance, and to allocate more financial and technical resources to efforts in Africa to attain Goal 14 of the 2030 Agenda and the related goals of Agenda 2063. Secondly, to deepen the transition to sustainable, circular and blue economies, including through strengthening national, sub-regional and continental policy frameworks, targeted capacity building and awareness raising, in particular for industries and businesses, introducing and scaling up funding mechanisms and financial incentives, investing in infrastructure designed to promote circular and blue economies, such as industrial symbiosis hubs, and strengthening trade in products of a circular economy. Thirdly, to prioritize and support initiatives by young people and women in sustainable and equitable circular and blue economies so as to boost inclusive employment and entrepreneurship. Fourthly, to scale up cross-sectoral and integrated climate action with a view to addressing the impacts of climate change, building resilience in all sectors affected by climate change, and achieving set goals across multiple agendas at the local, sub-regional, continental, and global levels. G. In relation to sustainable funding and partnerships for the 2030 Agenda and Agenda 2063. Firstly, to foster innovative financing mechanisms such as carbon finance, green and blue bonds, debt swaps for sustainable development, risk insurance, and climate-resilient debt clauses, recognizing the devastating effects of climate change in Africa and other regions that are highly vulnerable to such impacts. Secondly, to strengthen governance and regulatory frameworks with a view to securing climate finance and ensuring inclusive, climate-resilient development through regional cooperation and private sector engagement. Thirdly, to strengthen local financing systems and provide low-cost financing to decentralized or local governments, local communities, women, young people, and vulnerable or marginalized groups to enable them to invest in projects aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals, to unlock business development, to drive economic growth, and to create employment and wealth. Fourthly, to support investment in the development of digital technologies and digital public infrastructure with the aim of achieving universal connectivity, closing the digital divide, advancing e-commerce, and deepening financial inclusion for women and young people. Fifth, to accelerate the reform of the global financial architecture with the aim of ensuring the urgently needed support for developing countries. 6, to improve access to gender-responsive concessional finance for developing countries. 7, to promote inclusive international tax cooperation that addresses the specific challenges of developing countries and ensures equitable benefits. 8, to provide support for the formulation and application of clear roadmaps for voluntary national reviews of the integrated implementation of the 2030 Agenda and the second 10-year implementation plan of Agenda 2063. To update such reviews with data and inputs from voluntary subnational reviews and to translate lessons learned into bold and targeted policies, plans and programs aimed at accelerating the implementation of the 2 agendas. 9, to support effective implementation of the agreement establishing the African Continental Free Trade Area as a powerful lever for strengthening cooperation and networks with a view to forestalling conflict, building regional peace and security, ensuring economic stability, adapting to climate change, boosting industrialization, creating jobs, and reducing poverty. 10, to support and deliver productive and transformative capacity development programs such as peer-to-peer learning from successful approaches and evidence-based models, in particular by leveraging South-South and North-South cooperation. 11, to adopt and implement a comprehensive approach to statistical systems and to scale up significantly investment in such systems with a view to strengthening and upgrading them, including through the innovative use of non-traditional data sources and the enhanced collection and use of disaggregated data for evidence-based, science-driven and inclusive approaches and action of all the Sustainable Development Goals and the second 10-year implementation plan of Agenda 2063. 12, to scale up innovative multi-stakeholder partnerships such as the Generation Equality Forum, bringing together national governments, civil society organizations, young people, the private sector and philanthropic institutions to leverage their wide range of expertise, resources and networks in coherent, collective action designed to drive inclusive economic growth and job creation. 13th, to engage faith communities as partners in shaping policies and programs to create jobs, foster inclusive economic growth, and accelerate the implementation of the 2 agendas. 14th, and inequitable resource distribution. We do hereby, thirdly, reiterate our call to United Nations resident coordinators and United Nations country teams working together with entities throughout the United Nations system at both the global and regional levels. The African Union Commission, the African Union Development Agency New Partnership for Africa's Development, the African Development Bank and other African multilateral banks and other partners. Little a, to formally include Agenda 2063 and its second 10-year implementation plan in the forthcoming revision of the internal guidance for the United Nations Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework, and to ensure that both global and continental priorities are systematically reflected in United Nations programming processes with the aim of realizing the vision of the African Union of the 2 agendas, 1 plan, and ensuring the harmonized monitoring of that vision at the country level. B, to develop and deliver strong, coordinated and targeted support, including support for peer-to-peer learning from successful evidence-based and impactful approaches to members of the Economic Commission for Africa with a view to accelerating integrated national planning and implementation of the 2030 agenda and the second 10-year implementation plan of Agenda 2063. Last but not least, we do hereby, fourthly, request the government of Uganda to present the key messages and the present declaration on behalf of Africa to the high-level political forum on sustainable development at its meeting to be convened under the auspices of the Economic and Social Council in New York from 14th to 24th of July 2025, to the 4th International Conference on Financing for Development, to the 2nd World Summit on Social Development, to the Conference of the Parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change at its 30th session to be held in Belém, Brazil, from 10th to 21st November 2025, and at other relevant global, regional, and sub-regional forums in order to advocate accelerated implementation of the 2030 Agenda and Agenda 2063, in particular its second 10-year implementation plan. I thank you all for your very patient listening and hand over to the chair. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vice Chairperson, Honorable Fabrice David. Members, that is the draft Kampala Declaration on sustainable, inclusive, science-based and evidence-based solutions for driving job creation and economic growth, and for implementing the 2030 Agenda and Agenda 2063. So that is the draft. We must also go through it, own it, then move as a team to the next level. So page 1. We didn't read that page because it is, should I say, appreciating, recognizing the roles our leaders have done in this conference, and also appreciating and reaffirming the different commitments, then also reaffirming the different ministerial statements. So I would want us to concentrate more on page, beginning from page 4, because that's where the declaration begins. The other ones are appreciations. Page 4, when you look at do hereby, number 1. Number 1, I want comments, if any. Members, this is a document we'll have to present to the UN and the different global or national platforms. Yes, Honorable Jackie.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Minister, I would like to comment on page 1. In the preamble, we, the African ministers and senior officials, I would rather it reads, we, the African ministers, members of parliament and senior officials, and then remove from down leaders of various parliaments, because parliaments work hand in hand with the ministers in the different parliaments in the world. Thank you, Right Honorable. Thank you, Honorable Minister.
Thank you. She took us back to page 1. Yes, we got it. He wants members of parliament to stand out because it's an arm of government. Okay, members? Can we go to page 4? Page 5. Members, page 6. Page 7. Page 8. Yes, ma'am, in pink. Go ahead, ma'am.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Page 8, number 6. It's about the statistical systems. Yes. No, page, is it page 8, page 9? Page 8/9. Yeah, it's about the statistical systems. Okay, so we're talking about strengthening the statistical system so that we implement non-traditional
Which number is
sources.
it? Can you help us? Which number is it?
C'est le point 11.
Yes, that one. To adapt and implement a comprehensive...
So that is 11.
Oh, sorry.
It is 11.
Sorry, Chair. Okay, but
Go
I
ahead,
can...
please go ahead. Raise
Okay.
the issue.
Yes, so I would suggest that on a continental level or even up to the regional level, that we could start up initiatives or groups or forums to enhance or to harness these non-traditional data sources in our national statistical offices. Like for example, in the UK, they have a program which is called the Data Science Accelerators Program. So this helps them to be able to implement the data science techniques in their national statistical offices. We keep talking about how data is the new oil, and it's through data and statistics that we're able to track progress, we're able to make these policies. So if we are able to also come up with a science-based to new traditional sources in our African continents, if we take in offices, it would really do a great service to us as the Africans. Yeah, thank you. So it would be really nice to have an association that implements that in Africa. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, can I have Mike, please?
Merci. Je suis Ripama Toubou, directeur général de l'Institut de statistique au Burkina Faso. Je vais rebondir sur ce que ma prédécesseur vient de dire tout à l'heure, mais carrément sur un autre point. J'ai particulièrement apprécié ce point 11 en tant que directeur de la statistique. J'aimerais quand même qu'on tienne compte de certains contextes
Us to factor in the African context, especially those regions facing insecurity. In such regions, it is difficult to collect data. Meanwhile, we need evidence-based data that truly reflect our continent in order to properly guide our decision-making. Hence, I would like us to take into account this issue while developing strategies to collect data, especially in those areas where insecurity is rife. We could enhance our methods by using big data, etc. At the level of ECA, I believe there is a way to adopt other methods that will help us overcome this challenge. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Secretary. He says we should also have a sentence about the war-torn areas or conflict areas, because we also require data for solutions to be found. The challenge. Next, please.
Madame la Présidente, si vous permettez qu'on revienne à la page 7.3, l'observation que le professeur du Congo a faite
with regards to key issues, it arises again. It is written in French, the confidential free trade area. That's point number 3, page 7. I think this was a mistake. In French, it is written confidentiel, which means confidential. That ought to be corrected in the French translation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next. The next one next to, please, yes.
Thank you, moderator. Looking on the item on page 8 that has to do also with sustainable funding, I think it's also important that we promote countries to adopt sustainable public procurement, because that's also an instrument that can be used to support sustainable financing, but it's also supporting social inclusion. So I see it as an opportunity or as a very effective instrument that will help us to address the sustainability, the sustainable development goals. Thank you.
So sustainable digital procurement. Next.
Public procurement.
Which will give it traceability. Can I have somebody, please? I may not be able to read the tags. Yes.
Oui, justement, faire une observation. Je crois que j'anime le séminaire d'analyse de contenu au niveau du 3e cycle qu'on appelle le diplôme d'études approfondies. Et je crois qu'avant que c'est
extended studies. Although this document has already been adopted, I don't think we can come back to it. But I believe we can find some scholars who can make significant corrections to the final document. I'll come back to page 8, the last point. That's point number 6 on the point 8. I read in French, enhance access of countries to consensual loans, taking into account demand. But you see, in terms of tenses, there is a problem, because we have amended a similar document during the conference of African ministers in charge of science, technology, and innovation in Brazzaville. So after that document was amended, I hope that before this document is forwarded to the United Nations, there ought to be a small team that will be set up in order to correct the content thereof. Thank you very much.
I want to be guided. He's proposing that we should have a smaller team to look at this. It will be edited, but our messages will remain. The main messages we have agreed will remain. What they could be editing is only language at what, but the principle, the message remains the same. Is that he's disagreeing? Can you? So can we get the lady?
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. My name is Mutesi Oliver. I'm the Vice President for the Pan-African Youth Union, the youth continental body. We had a side event on the 8th. However, our outcomes were not captured. One, on the upcoming events, we didn't hear about the youth side event at the ECOSOC. 2, we didn't hear about the issue of financing youth-led innovation and entrepreneurship. The youth called for increased investment in youth-led innovation through sustainable financing, tax incentives for youth enterprise, digital skilling, AI, incubation hubs, and entrepreneurship training to build future-ready workforce. Governments The private sector, foundations, and financial institutions should support in partnership with youth entrepreneurship, ensuring that innovation drives job creation and economic growth, especially in green jobs, digital and care economies across Africa. Youth should actively participate in and benefit from the African continental free trade area. The second was institutionalizing youth participation in governance and enhancing accountability. Madam Chair, our outcome document is big, so I'm requesting that I will hand it over to the Secretariat for adoption. Thank you so much.
Thank you, but notice those issues were in the key messages. It's because they were incorporated under the different subheadings, but they were there, they were catered for in the key messages.
Thank you.
Yes, can you give microphone this side?
Thank you.
Give them the microphone, please.
Yes, thanks. I have found a microphone. The particular part that is speaking about voluntary national reviews, kindly requesting, because it was noted in the 2022 African Sustainable Development.
Can you please tell us which page and the number?
Oh, sorry.
Please.
No problem.
Yes.
It's on page 7/9.
And which number?
Oh, sorry. It's actually 8/9.
Yes, please.
Yes. And it's number 8, where it says to provide support for the formulation and application. Yes. So I was kindly requesting to add there that Africa should be leading the way. We consider SDG 5 to be a cross-cutting issue and a cross-cutting goal. If it would be possible in terms of updating the reviews for SDG 5 to be reviewed every year.
Okay. Next.
Yes, thank you.
Give the microphone to the next person, please. Yes.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. On the point of that is E, where we are talking about young women and girls, including science, in science and technology.
Which page? E of which page?
I don't know. I'll need to be assisted there. It just starts with E and starts saying by promoting. 1 second.
E.
So it's about employment. I don't know if
that is E in relation to job creation.
Yes.
Full employment, decent work. That is page 6.
Thank you. Within that context, there is a critical constituency that we do not mention, but I don't know if it's implied, youth with disabilities. I don't know how we can factor in that because of the many attitudinal barriers that persons with disabilities have faced. Sometimes when we say young people or youth, we do not necessarily mean youth with disabilities.
So that is Roman 1.
Yeah.
We include
youth with
not
disabilities.
leaving behind youth with disabilities.
Thank you very much.
Next.
Chair.
Please.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I'm Salahuddin Bakur. I'm the Deputy Secretary General of the Pan-African Youth Union. I want just to add that the PYU, which is the Continental Coordinating Mechanism for youth representing the 54 countries, is the one who actually gathered all the NYC, which is the National Youth Council, and the other platforms. So it will be very helpful to recognize this and add it as the youth that you are here today to be represented. And the Pan-African Youth Union is an organization that actually it's based in Rabat, in Morocco. So it will be helpful to add it, that to recognize it, and all the youth can actually engage directly to the platform. Thank you.
Surely, in the declaration, must we include that? Because when we are talking of youth, it's youth. Now, the details of the different institutions under youth, those can be considered when they are looking at the composition of the team that must be in that conference. Because if we do that, we are now going to talk of the youth councils, the youth in civil society, the youth in the faith-based organizations, the youth in this, then we shall even leave out what we may not know for here. I would think let's not pull out only youth of youth councils, because the youth are really varied. You are really, I may use the word that you are in different communities, but the word youth is the most important. Can we have, yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to prompt especially the Secretariat, since we are heading for the 15th Summit of the Global Forum on Migration and Development, issues that are actually captured in the declaration, especially those regarding migration, labor externalization, can we try to fine-tune them so that they fit into the themes and sub-themes that informs the 15th Summit of the Global Forum on Migration and Development that will take place in Colombia in June. Thank you.
Thank you. And they were captured in the key messages, so we need to bring them here, have this component here. Can I have from the academia? Okay. Yes. Yes, please. You switch on. Yes,
Thank
please.
you. Thank you so much. Shailen Poppet, University of Birmingham in the UK. Thank you for having me here. Thank you, Right Honourable Chair and Excellencies and Honourable Delegates. I am very impressed seeing this document. As you know, I attended quite a number of sessions this week, and seeing it all being synthesized here is very impressive. There are two comments I'd like to make where I feel perhaps you're not being as confident as you should be. First of all, is there a section about capturing the outcomes as member states and organizations deliver? So that I know there's one line about creating some level of bottom-up case study for implementation, but I think the intention to capture delivery practice. And secondly, I understand why this would be internally focused on Africa, because that's your context. But coming from Europe, I am very interested to learn from what you've put together here. And I feel that Africa should have the confidence to lead the rest of the world in these matters. And there should be a statement of intention that we will synthesize and summarize these points, maybe into a shorter document, which you will then distribute across the other regions so that they may also learn both global south and north. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Secretariat, instead of, we've made the request to government of Uganda to present this, but also let's also have the component of implementing this, like it was in the key messages, the issue of implementation and localizing this in our plans, because that is the implementation is talking about. Can I have the mic? Okay, please go ahead, the one holding the microphone. Then can you get the microphone to the one next, another microphone? Please go ahead, ma'am. Technical team, can you help us with the microphones?
Hello, so my name is Mary Awelana, and I am from the Transparency International chapter in Ghana. I reflect on the last point I think it's 14, which talks about fighting corruption. My opinion is that if we say fighting corruption, in which of the SDGs are we reflecting this in? So it's generic and it's too expansive. We want to be specific. Is it in the area of service delivery? Which part of corruption are we fighting and how are we doing so? In the other sections, you realize there are explanations that are given. So for me, I believe that we should be very direct on exactly what we want to do. And I suspect that's why we've not made significant impact in our fight thus far. So if we want to fight corruption, someone mentions in the area of public procurement, what are those things we want to do to be able to fight corruption? Are we fighting corruption in SDG 5? Are we doing so in 8? Which part? What exactly are we doing? That's what I wanted to call attention to. Thank you.
Can we go back to page 7G? In relation sustainable funding and partnership for 2030 Agenda 2063. So in relation to sustainable funding and partnership, we have listed out what we picked out from the discussions, and one of them, sustainable funding and partnership. We should tackle corruption. And part of the message, a way of tackling corruption, is in the key messages, we had the issue of having transparently digitalized public procurement process so that there is traceability. So that is one way of fighting corruption. So we only pulled it out the other side, and here we bring it in a block way and say fighting corruption. But the key messages have brought out how we can fight corruption, and I've pulled out one. Also, the issue of indebtedness, to also look at the issues to do with the institutional financial reforms that will also have to address issues to do with this. Then we also have equitable resource distribution, because our slogan is leaving no one behind and serving the farthest first. Next, please.
Thank you, Honorable.
Yes.
Thank you. I am Joan Tanachuala. I'm representing Voice Life Health Organization. Mental health, mine is under health and well-being. Mental health is a cross-cutting SDG priority and hence a need to be incorporated in all SDGs. Mental well-being is not just a health goal, SDG 3, but a catalyst for achieving all 17 SDGs. Therefore, integrating mental health into every developmental agenda builds resilient communities, promotes inclusive education, promotes productivity, reduces inequalities, and strengthens institutional capacity. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I have the lady this side in let me go now political, in my party colors. That's the color of my political party. Please. Okay, ma'am, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. She's in gold. Thank you very much. Actually, my name is Warren Jai, based in Senegal, Senior Global Advocacy Advisor representing Site Savers. I wanted to come back to the VNR and VLRs. I think it was page 7.7, I think, because I tried to speak when you projected it at that point. And I wanted to suggest the joint reporting process between SDGs and Agenda 2063. Not sure if it was well captured exactly in this paragraph, but it would be good to address that, because in the conversations that were held, the joint reporting process was addressed, and even the need to review the templates that are being used for countries to report on the VNRs and VLRs. So if we can find a way to include the joint reporting process between SDGs and Agenda 2063. Thank you very much.
Secretariat, that is page 8, number 8, Roman 8. Yeah, that's what, yes. Ma'am, give her the microphone. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Cecile Jebet, I'm Wangari Maathai Champion of Forests and the UN Champion of the Earth. Madam Chair, I think that the priorities of Africa is to eradicate poverty and also to combat climate change. In this declaration, I'm missing the security to land for the women, because this is for us the basic to eradicate poverty and to address climate change. Even to build the resilience against climate change, even to create jobs, we need women with security to land. And Refacov, the network I'm working with, is in 20 countries, and the 20 countries women are facing the same challenge. And this challenge depends on our culture. You know, we are in a patriarchal system. So unless we really address it properly, I'm not sure that we will make things happen, because poverty is also a key problem for the women, and we know how much they are caring for that. I would also like to make sure that in the review we have suggested we are talking about the review of the SDG 5, please. I missed to see maybe SDG 9, but it was SDG 5. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Secretariat. Take charge, Honorable Jackie.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I would like to refer us to page 8. And page 8, Roman, is that 13? To engage faith-based communities, but I would also love to add the faith and cultural institutions, because they play a big role in influencing communities. So rather than just leaving it as faith-based organizations. And then I would like to refer you to page 7, which talks about financing partnership for the goals. I know we have already mentioned about carbon finance and blue bonds, but I want us to be specific, because this document that we are presenting is a reflective of the people of Africa. So I would like us to add another Roman which talks about the new collective quantified goal on finance to be genuinely reflective of Africa's true needs, far exceeding the 300 billion pledge done annually and not reflective. So African countries must demand simplified, streamlined access to climate finance and develop financing innovation for African contexts. Because in most times, most of the African countries are not able to access the financing that is committed to globally, and yet we face the highest impacts in regards to climate change. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Chair, for this. Just to add to, after the implementation and all is done regarding the 2 agendas, I was thinking it would be good to add, to make them more sustainable and for continuity, to add on monitoring and assessment. For example, the Agenda 2063, the second year implementation plan ends 2033, thereafter. So there should be a process, or it should be included there for monitoring and assessment. Thank you.
So she's saying we should include, after the 10-year plan, we should have monitoring, evaluation, or assessment. We account ourselves and also be able to evaluate ourselves and make a way forward. Members, I think we have listened to each other. We have made contributions. Can I get somebody in front of the camera person?
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. A quick one in relation to sustainable funding under G. I'm Abdu from the United Nations Human Rights. So this is specifically under number 5, to accelerate the reform of the global financial architecture. with the aim of ensuring the urgently needed support for developing countries. My suggestion is to strengthen this paragraph by adding in line with applicable international human rights, including the right to development, which is a good foundation for the call. Thank you.
Thank you so much, members. So do we adopt the declaration with those amendments you have made? Because you have improved on the paper, you have proposed for us to add in certain. Do we adopt the declaration? Kampala Declaration, can we hear the... Thank you so much, members. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Secretariat, for putting this, and thank you for your contribution in the different meetings, the pre-events, during the main event, but you have all actively participated. Even those online, let's also clap for those online because they've taken use of technology. So I want us now to move in for the closing ceremony, official closing ceremony. Before we move to the closing ceremony, we are supposed to have another item of where next. Where would we? So I want to invite Mr. Nassim to take us through the next item before we move to the closing ceremony. That is item 12. That is agenda item 12. The theme, the dates, and the venue of the 12th session of the Africa Regional Forum on Sustainable Development. I want now to take this opportunity to invite Mr. Nassim on behalf of the Secretariat to communicate to us. Please, Secretariat, take the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So on the theme of the next African Regional Forum for Sustainable Development, this will be linked to the theme of the 2026 High-Level Policy Forum on Sustainable Development. And the theme of the HLPF 2026 is the transformative, equitable, innovative, and coordinated actions for the 2030 Agenda and its SDGs for a sustainable future for all. The theme for the next RSFD will be directly linked to this. We have not yet decided the exact theme, but we'll do it with the Bureau. For the dates on the venue, next year it is expected that the venue for the RSFD 12 will be in Southern Africa, according to the rotation between different sub-regions. So normally it is expected that the Southern Africa region propose countries, member states from the Southern Africa region propose to host. If not, of course, will be ECA will host it at its headquarters in Addis Ababa. So it will be ideal to announce this before the high-level policy forum. So we invite the member states to communicate through their representative at the bureau their willingness to host the 12th edition of the Africa Regional Forum on Sustainable Development. So we will work very closely with the Bureau on that and communicate to the Member States. of course, for the dates, this will be decided later. Madam Chair, I take this opportunity just to remind all the participants to fill the evaluation form that has been distributed in paper, but also yesterday we communicated the QR code. So please, we'll really highly appreciate if you could do it, so at least we can build on your suggestions, evaluations to improve, to continue to improve the organization and the logistical part and the content of this forum. So we really thank you in advance for this effort. This will help us a lot to improve the different dimensions of the Africa Regional Forum for Sustainable Development. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the announcement. We are now waiting to hear from Southern Africa, who will host us next. Can I invite His Excellency Leva Matete Gatete to come and take his seat here, and we move into the closing ceremony. Our resident coordinator, Uganda, His Excellency Zulu, please come and take your seat. Excellencies, distinguished delegates and participants, we have come to the beginning of the end of this conference, of the 11th session of our regional forum. I want to take this opportunity to invite the resident coordinator of the UN in Uganda, His Excellency Leonard Zulu, to deliver his statement. Please welcome. Can we clap and receive him?
Thank you very much. Honorable Minister, Madam Lumumba, Chair of the Bureau, Honorable Ministers and government officials present, Under Secretary General and Executive Secretary of the Economic Commission of Africa, Mr. Claver Gatete, the Regional Director for the Development Coordination Office for Africa, resident coordinators present, representatives of the Africa Union and regional economic communities present, members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished panelists and experts, colleagues from the United Nations family, including my dear friends, members of the United Nations country team in Uganda, civil society, private sector, youth, academia, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor and privilege to deliver these final remarks at the 11th African Regional Forum on Sustainable Development on behalf of the UN system as the host UN resident coordinator. Allow me first to express my sincere gratitude to the government and people of Uganda. Your home hospitality and unwavering commitment to the SDGs have made this forum a memorable success. Under the visionary leadership of His Excellency President Yoweri Museveni, Uganda has set a shining example outlined in his interventions on the first day. President Museveni highlighted the urgent need for a transformative mindset across Africa. For example, his message was clear. We must cease exporting our jobs and raw materials, underlining in his message the need for value addition and benefication. He underlined that instead we must invest in our systems through advanced transportation, affordable greener energy, transformative education, robust financial systems, and intentional value addition to our abundant resources. To transform our economies, in order to move our development away from aid dependence to self-sufficiency and reliance is an imperative. Our UN Under-Secretary General and Advisor for Africa, Christina Durati, underscored critical issues through her powerful message on the triple paradox: financing, energy access, and climate change. In her words, these interconnected challenges demand our collective integrated responses. She followed that up with the most hopeful and inspiring analysis on the role of institutions, and I am happy to repeat her key messages, and I quote, "Durable peace requires sustainable development. Sustainable development requires sustainable financing. Sustainable financing requires control over economic and financial flows. And this control requires robust institutions, indeed, robust state institutions. We will all agree that this 11th Regional Forum, hosted by Kampala, has not only provided a platform to deepen regional collaboration, but set a high standard. The Kampala Declaration that has been adopted is very clear, action-oriented, results-based, and measurable. This will make it easy to monitor and evaluate ahead of the next meeting. And I'm pleased that it will be going to my region, Southern Africa. I hope there will be a country that will step up so that I can go and enjoy the southern sun as I enjoy the eastern sun here in Eastern Africa. Over the last 5 days, we have collectively reaffirmed our dedication to achieving inclusive and sustainable progress aligned with the 2030 Agenda and Agenda 2063 for the Africa we want. Our discussions contained in the key messages provided clear practical takeaways. Number one, investment in science, technology, innovation, and digital transformation is essential to accelerating economic growth, job creation, and resilience. Number two, driving job creation requires a transformative mindset that prevents the shipping away of jobs through the exporting of raw materials to intentional value addition on them. Number three, sustainable and innovative financing mechanisms must mobilize resources and ensure accountability. And indeed, here I must underline domestic resource mobilization. Number four, inclusive growth must prioritize gender equality, youth empowerment, decent work, and social protection that leaves no one behind and starts with those who are furthest behind. Number five, strengthening partnerships across government, civil society, private sector, academia, and international institutions is critical to success. At this point, I would like to extend my heartfelt appreciation and humility to the President of Uganda, His Excellency Museveni, for accepting to host this forum. I also extend my gratitude to my own President, who was present here, President Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa, who graced us with his presence traveling all the way from Southern Africa. I also extend sincere gratitude to the Right Honorable Prime Minister of Uganda and her office for delivering such a successful forum. We spent many days, I must tell you, working very hard together as one team to ensure the success of the forum, together with our colleagues at the Economic Commission for Africa. So my special thanks go to the Economic Commission for Africa, the Africa Union, development partners, the country team Uganda, the private sector, actors, civil society, organizations, youth representatives, and academia for contributing both technically and for some of them financially to this forum to ensure that the forum was a resounding success. To all other stakeholders present, I say thank you to all of you. Your dedication, your expertise, your collaborative spirit were vital in shaping rich discussions and valuable outcomes. And I must add, looking at the time, your resilience and fortitude, commitment, diligence, and tenacity to spend long hours discussing, making sure that all the key messages are correct and that they appear in the Kampala Declaration. As we depart Kampala, let us convert our vibrant discussions into meaningful actions. Let us move forward inspired, determined, and united. Let us keep the momentum alive and continue working together, stronger than ever. Let us remain steadfast in transforming our continent, our beautiful continent, Africa. Together we can build a sustainable, inclusive, and prosperous home in Africa. The future we want, an Africa thriving in peace, sustainability, and shared prosperity, is within our grasp. Thank you all. I thank you all for coming to the Pearl of Africa. I enjoyed tremendously. I've been here for 6 months, and it's a beautiful country. So for some of you who are going to stay the weekend, please enjoy the sights and sounds of Uganda. For those who are returning home, I wish you safe travels and safe return home. Safari njema. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Then at Zulu, can we give him another round of applause? We worked closely and we appreciate all of their efforts. I want to take this opportunity to invite His Excellency Clever Gatete, the Under Secretary General of the United Nations and Executive Secretary of ICA. Welcome. Can we welcome him in a special way?
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Chair. I didn't want to give another speech. You've heard so much, but I just wanted to speak from my heart, really, to thank you so much for everything that you have done. We started this story. Thank you very much. Thank you. We started this story last year with the Prime Minister, Right Honorable Prime Minister of this country, who offered to host this important conference, She attended the previous Africa Regional Forum on Sustainable Development last year, and since then we've been negotiating. Finally, as you may understand, you cannot negotiate with the Prime Minister for so long. So she won the case and agreed to host this conference. In Feb, I came here to sign the host agreement. And we were graced, we were honored to meet the president of this country, who showed his willingness and support for this conference. And we met all the other officials concerned. But we never expected it to be so big, it will be so wonderful, it will be so engaging and interactive as we have seen. So we thank the leadership. We really thank the leadership of Uganda, His Excellency the President, the Prime Minister, all the ministers, all the officials, from Parliament to academia to private sector to civil society of Uganda. They have really participated. We thank the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe for being here. We thank all the previous heads of state and government that were here. You saw them from different countries, from Tunisia, from Tanzania, from Sierra Leone, the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, and also the previous Prime Ministers here. You saw Mama Mbabazi, who was here, Right Honorable Hakana Rugunda. We saw Sam Kutesa, the former President of the UN General Assembly. We saw all the ministers. I think Uganda has put in everything they have. I really want to thank the leadership of Uganda. In a special way, I want to thank our chair. You know, she's been here right from the beginning, every day, without going anywhere, and she's the one who stood and really moderated everything. We thank you very much, Honorable Chair. What this message gives us is that Uganda is highly committed. Uganda is highly committed, and this is not the first time. They held the presidency of the United Nations General Assembly, and that's where Sam Kutesa was our president representing Africa. Later on, they were the chair of the G77 and China, and then they were also the chair of the non-aligned movement. And now they are also leading in terms of contributing to the climate action. I believe His Excellency Adonia Ayebare is around. I don't know if he's still around, but he's here representing Uganda in the United Nations, and he has done a very, very fantastic job. Thank you very much, really, Ambassador Ayebare. So this shows really how committed the country is in terms of leading us. Now, but also what I appreciate most is this environment, Munyonyo. Munyonyo has given us almost everything. I know that most of you has eaten a lot, the good food, everything, and that's what maybe made you work so hard. But Munyonyo as an environment is a very wonderful facility for any kind of conferences. We thank you very, very much. We thank our team from the ECA and from the UN system that have been helping us in terms of preparing this. Some of these people have not slept very well. From the beginning up to now, they've been working very, very hard. We thank you very much really for your contribution. Now, let me come to the people who are here. Really, I was impressed. From the ministers to academia, to the UN system, all the resident coordinators. I don't know where you got the energy, and the youth who started right from the beginning, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I was worried. I thought that by the time we do the opening, everybody would be tired. They were still going. And then after the official opening, the debates continued, non-stop. Until yesterday, I thought people would go home. They never went home. They were still debating. And I was wondering how many people would be here by the time we close. You can see the number for yourself. And not only that, they are still engaging. They are still debating. They are still correcting to make sure that this outcome is African-owned. Really, this is very exciting. I can tell you this is not ECA document. This is not UN document. It's your document. Whatever goes there, it is your own input. It's your own debate. But at the end of the day, we all own it together. And it comes at the right time. Because, as you may imagine, the world is changing. And it has been changing slowly, but we are totally in a different world. It started some time back, if I can start from 2002, when we realized that the financial system that was put in place after the 1994, that is not working for Africa, that needs to change. That's when the meeting that took place in Mexico, in Monterrey, the one they called the Monterrey Consensus, was to realize that we needed to change the way we finance our development. Because our countries have grown, the needs are different, and the Washington Consensus can no longer work for us. We needed a different style. That's why they called it the first meeting conference of financing for development. Later on, 2008, it went to Doha to discuss again what needs to change. In 2015, it went to Addis Ababa. And that's the time also we adopted the SDGs. And now this year, it will be in Spain. This will be the fourth conference on financing for development, trying to see what can change. That means really the world has changed completely. And as you can see from really 2008, for the first time we had international financial shock, external shock. Then 2010, 2011, we saw the energy crisis. Things that we never used to see, what they called the Arab Spring. And then we saw the COVID coming. We had never seen, before that we had Ebola, then we had COVID, and now we are having other things we never saw, the Marburg and other things. This is on the health sector, where the whole world was affected. These are external shocks. We never used to talk about climate, or it was just in the textbooks. But now we started feeling it. Immediately after the COVID-19, we started now seeing the real impact of the climate change. And when you combine that with the global crisis in terms of wars, not in one continent, but all over the world, it really had a big impact on us. And that's why you see the high indebtedness. Africa alone, more than $1 trillion US dollars in terms of debt. And our country is paying more than 100 billion just in interest payment every year. And you can see what the situation is. The climate impact is 5% of GDP. In countries like Mozambique, 2023, it was 15% of GDP. And it is still going on. We need to address it. Yes, we are bringing some innovative financing, green bonds, blue bonds, sustainability-linked bonds, and many other measures. They are not enough. We are trying to address the issues of debt, where we used to have a formula on how to address the issues of debt. We did it during the high-level debt that we had in the early 2000, 2003, 2004, for those countries that were highly indebted. Yes, we would go to Paris Club and then find a solution. But these days, the debt is owed to so many other entities. It's not only the Paris Club members. There are many non-Paris Club members. There are many private sector. And putting everybody together at this time with the current geopolitical situation, it is very difficult. And that's why the common framework that was put together by G20 is not working. And with that, we are stuck. We are looking for solutions. And because of what has been happening at this moment in time, which caught us unprepared, because our rating of our countries is too low, and that's why we have only 2 investment-grade countries in the whole continent since independence, which is a signal that we need to do things differently. And that's why last year, there was a summit of the future, which really explained what we need to reform on the finance side, and most of us, most people, started hearing the reform of the global financial architecture. It is showing that something needs to be done, and it is all contained in the Pact for the Future. We started talking about the Global Digital Compact and showing that technology, we can't avoid it. For social development, for economic development, we can't avoid it. The reform of the Security Council, so that we can also have a voice as Africans and other global communities, so that we can be able to make sure that we can also be on the table. Now, all these things are happening because our world is changing, and also we need to change. Now, this year alone, we are having 4 different events. One is the 4th conference on financing for development. It is going to take place in Spain, end of June. That one, we must give inputs. The second one is the international conference, the 3rd one, for the social summit that is going to take place in Doha. That one in November, we must give inputs. And you have the COP30 that's going to take place in Brazil, we must give inputs. There is also the landlocked developing countries conference, which we must give inputs. When I was seated here and you are reviewing our own resolutions, I could see that we have answered almost all of them. We have given inputs. And also I liked it when the youth people mentioned their own input, which should be included. I would suggest that in addition to including it in this resolution, maybe the youth could also have it as an attachment, so that as we go there, then at least we have what has been agreed on in a summary, in a consensus, but at the same time have an attachment of the youth, because their voice is also loud and should be heard in this global community. So Uganda will be presenting it, not only during the high-level political forum, but also during the COP and financing for development. On the 28th, there will be a discussion. The 28th of this month, there's going to be a discussion in New York on financing for development, and Uganda should be able to table it to make sure that also the inputs here that have been agreed on are also captured in that kind of resolution. Very important. The same thing, of course, when you go to Brazil in the COP, this one should also be presented. So I think the work that we've done is just incredible. You don't see this one anywhere where people themselves are saying, you have forgotten to include this, you should include this, maybe there's something else, so that it becomes our document. It's not only government documents, it's not parliamentary documents, it's all of us owning it as Africa because of what is happening. And that's why we are talking about the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. You are seeing that it's coming at a time when the aid is almost no more, when the tariffs are the order of the day. The reason we had the World Trade Organization was to make sure that we can trade globally unimpeded, but now we are seeing that it's not the case. And that's why we need a market for Africa. That's why we need to make sure that what our leaders have said, that we need to add value to our minerals rather than exporting it in the raw form, is that we can do it within the regional value chain here, add value, create jobs here. We can add value on all agriculture products. We can add value on all other commodities that we have on the continent. And we can trade not only in the continent, but also beyond. And that's how we can really make sure that we address our own problems. So this here outcome has really helped in terms of answering everything that we wanted, and I can't thank you enough. I really appreciate your time. You've come from very far. You've worked. You didn't just come for a conference to sit. You just came to work. I was going almost, room by room, and I could see the arguments, I could see the engagement, I could see the participation. I think we've made it. And I wanted just to thank all of you for all the energy, for all your contribution. You made my day. Thank you very much to all of you. Thank you very much to the UN system. Safe trip back home. Thank you.
round of applause to Mr. Gatete and team. Your Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to summarize the protocol in that. Mine is actually to appreciate. And I want to begin by appreciating you who are seated here up to now. Thank you so much. I've been in politics since 2001 at the level of parliamentary up to today. I've attended conferences and I've seen how people behave on the last day, contrary to what I'm seeing here. We have kept here, people have kept active like they've said before, and even pulling out people to come back for plenary from the parallel meetings was proving very difficult because you all wanted to continue participating. The young were participating, the female were participating, the males were participating. Everybody was very active. It's a sign that as Africa, we've now understood that we must work together. We must have one voice. We must take on our challenges together as a team to be able to push off whatever challenges we are faced with, as groups, as teams, as a community, as brothers and sisters, as His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni said. In Africa, it's not about the diaspora, it's not about external, it's about brotherhood. Let's carry that spirit, and you have demonstrated it in this conference. I want to say thank you on behalf of the government of Uganda. And also want to take this opportunity to thank His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. As they have said, African countries, our economies, we have constraints. You have been talking about resources. But when the Right Honorable Prime Minister Robin Anabanja came and put it to cabinet under his chair that we should host this 11th Regional Forum Conference, he said, yes, we shall manage. When we are going on with business, we go to a level where the resources from government were not enough. He said, I'll add. He added. Still, they were not enough. The UN family came in and contributed. Let's thank the UN family. Thank you so much. All the agencies contributed, a sign that they are all committed to this. And when we got to the level that some of the side events could not be facilitated using the resources we have, different ministries came and facilitated, especially the Ministry of Science and Technology. We want to say thank you to the Ministry of Science and Technology under Dr. Musenero Monica Yuso. And by the way, she's a true African woman. Let me give you a story about her in one sentence. When we had in Sierra Leone, when we had Ebola killing doctors, nurses, the ordinary people, and there were challenges, especially with the surveillance, challenges of how to handle the issue. Dr. Musenero led the team of African doctors, and they went and rescued our brothers and sisters. Let's clap for her, though she has left. Are there people from Sierra Leone here? Yes. And those are our brothers and sisters, and they look what actually they want to take her. But let's share the expertise in her as Africa. Let's keep that spirit. When you hear there is a problem in the neighboring country, we are brothers and sisters. If you can add value, if you can be of good use to rescue a life, let's carry that spirit. I want to take this opportunity to thank the UN family, especially ICA. We kept calling. They would come and go. But after discussion, when they are boarding a plane to go back, we are calling to say, please, let's have this discussion. And they never hesitated in a single minute. That spirit has also been demonstrated here. Even when they would say we want this, they all come running. Thank you. Thank you for loving your work. Because there's having a job, but also loving it is important. I want to take this opportunity to thank Right Honorable Robin Anabanja. Apart from pulling this to come, this conference to be brought to this part of Africa, she has been our chair of the organizing committee, together with the permanent secretary of her office, Mr. Alex Kakoza. And my role was very simple. It was only to coordinate the politicians. So they simplified the work. But in a special way, allow me thank Dr. Albert Byamugisha. He's an elderly man, but you see how he moves so fast. He moves so fast, and he makes things happen. Together with his assistant, Pascal. Where's the young man? Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And the whole team. Do we have members of the organizing committee who are here? Please stand up, and people know the team that was behind this. Organizing team from Uganda, major young people. Thank you so much. We appreciate. Like the UN resident coordinator has said, we've set the bar high. But even where we are going next, it is us Africans. We must keep improving every day. I want to take this opportunity to thank Speak Resort Munyonyo, led by Dr. Sudhir Rupaleria. You'll pass on a word to them because they've really provided services to us. They've kept the place so clean. They've been available and very ready to attend to us with the different issues that we had to handle in this place. I want to thank in a special way the UN family, but also all member states for having given us the opportunity as Uganda. At the time when the UN was adopting the SDGs, the chair was with Uganda, the chair was with East Africa, the chair was with Africa. And because we started it, the whole world responded. So it was adopted under the chair, the person of Honorable Sam Kutesa, an African, and we have still moved on up to today because we provided leadership at that time. So what we steered was something useful to the whole world, and that's why we can still continue meeting. And even agree that even when it comes to 2030, even if we may not have achieved 100%, only 5 years remaining, we can still speed up. But still, we shall agree on another program to move on. Because in life, wherever you register success, it brings in challenges. But that shouldn't discourage you. I'm just telling you that we have to keep providing leadership as member states because it is our responsibility. I want to take this opportunity to also thank the different categories of people who have attended. Those of you who may not know, you may be seeing people moving, but we had heads of government and we also had former heads of government or state. We have ministers from different countries. We had members of parliament from Parliament of Uganda, from the regional parliament, the East African Parliament, and also from the Pan-African Parliament. We had the UN family. Those from, apart from being participants, they were organizers and funders. People from diplomatic corps, government departments and agencies, academia, civil society organizations, the youth, private sector, faith-based organizations, the Interreligious Council of Africa. We had also children. You saw our children coming here to participate. And also not only here, but also inside events. We had also leadership from the local governments. We had the district chairpersons, or who you'd call district governors, district planners, resident district commissioners. We also had chairpersons of political parties, also fully represented here. I want to also take this opportunity in a special way to thank the security agencies, because so far so good. Members, as we live here, most times when we come to these conferences, we always want to think big and talk big. But as you go back, I want you to look at how you are managing SDGs. Have you involved everybody? We may be talking about inclusivity here, but have you included everybody in what you do at home? So go and unpack and make sure all of the teams that we have mentioned that attended here, please include the security agencies. Let them know. Let's go out and carry the message. In some countries, people are looking at the SDGs as something for the UN. No, it is for all of us. Whatever you do in your home, whether in the compound, whether in the bedroom, whether in the sitting room, whether on the roadside, whether in the boardrooms, you are scoring in this goal. And the beauty I've liked with this is that I've understood that we are implementing the Agenda 2063 and the SDG 2030 using the same framework. Let's not bother ourselves separating the two, because the intention is the same. We are scoring in the same goal. Then that should simplify our work. I want to take this opportunity to also thank you for having given us the responsibility as East Africa by giving us leadership to chair the Bureau for this 1 year. We don't take it for granted. And we are going to work so hard and go beyond what you have been able to see. We shall make sure we come to reach out to you in your blocks. We have the energy, and the government of Uganda will facilitate us to get to where you are, so that we work together, understand each other, so that by the time we get to the UN and beyond, we've understood each other, the challenges beyond the boardroom, and we have gone into the field in the different blocks. I also want to introduce the new team that you have given the responsibility. You have given the responsibility to me as the chair on behalf of East Africa, but on behalf of the responsibility for the vice chairperson on behalf of South Africa was given to Honorable Fabrice David. Honorable Fabrice David from Mauritius. So this time they also catered for the youth. So countries were very, very careful to make sure there is a youth on the team. Then the second vice chairperson is Honorable Oliver Ago from Cameroon, who is also a young man. Can you look the other side so that the youth can see? Then we have the third vice chairperson, Honorable Sering Falu Njie, who is a fellow elder and is from Gambia. Our rapporteur is Honorable Said Ahmed Oldbo from Mauritania, who was the chairperson handed over to me, but is part of the team so that we continue working together. He left early because he had to go, because he had some more other engagements. But he accorded us time and came. I want to take this opportunity to inform you that Uganda is the most beautiful country in the world. Uganda is naturally beautiful. You have seen how green it is. There is nothing in the world which is more beautiful than green. When you look out, the trees are really smiling because of the green color. The other day I was listening to colleagues who were talking when we were having lunch on the next table. And one was saying, I've come to Uganda and I'm told the source of the Nile is here. But they've been telling us the source of the Nile is somewhere in Ethiopia. You've come where the source of the Nile is. It's a shared resource on the African continent, but its source is here, East Africa. Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi. We all contribute to it. So I want to thank the East African countries. Thank you for holding that resource that gives livelihood to our brothers and sisters in North Africa, Egypt, but also Europe, because we contribute to the Mediterranean. So please clap for us. People are wondering what I will say next about Uganda. Uganda has the best food, fresh fruits. You didn't have organic food here. It was all fresh. Courtesy of God. Yes. Everybody would have loved to have that. But you can't have it. But for us, God gave it to us. And that's why we guard it. And we protect what we have. And that's why we have even kept organic soil. If I'm to go on and on and on, we shall not leave this place. But most importantly, find time to see this beautiful country with the beautiful people and beautifully and well-hearted human beings, your brothers and sisters, in this small country called Uganda. We are the only country on the equator where you'll find snow. On the equator, but the mountains have snow. It is not common. We are the country with the biggest number of tree-climbing lions. Most of you think they are found everywhere. No, they are only found in the 3 countries in the world. But Uganda has the biggest number. The rest you have been observing. You know, when you are marketing your daughter, you use all of the best words you pull out. So it is the time what I'm doing now. But most importantly, let's keep together. Let's work together. We are faced with the same challenge. Like Honorable Chris Bariomus said, when you look at the map of Africa, it is a question mark with Madagascar and Mauritius as the dot, that full stop. So, what did God intend? We must work hard to, instead of having the question mark, to be offering solutions to the world. We have been offering solutions to the world, like the president said, being donors. But we had not understood it. But now that we have understood it, let's help each other to process what we have, instead of being a poor continent, yet rich. Whatever the other continents use, whatever is valuable, whatever they add value to make them rich, they get them here. So let's process everything here so that we create jobs here, so that we provide money to our countries, to our treasury, and be able to have a better Africa and have a better world to live in. I thank you for God and my country. I have a small announcement. One of the objectives of this forum is networking. So to that effect, we have dinner dance after here. And you know very well, in Africa, every corner has a different culture, different way of dancing. Some dance jumping up. There are those who dance crawling. There are those who concentrate on the waist. There are those who concentrate on the arms. There are those who concentrate on the chest. There are those who concentrate on the head. Let's go and sit as we network. Good evening, and it will be on the lakeside. I take this opportunity to close this conference. Thank you so much.